Nick Hornby's books are pretty revered. I don't know so much here, but definitely in the UK. How did it feel taking on characters like Annie and Duncan, who so many people just, cling to, and that's their life in some certain way? I know, weirdly enough, I've always identified with Duncan for kind of what you said. You kind of find yourself making your personality about one thing, and I felt that. So how did it feel taking on roles that you knew people really care about?
It felt good because it's without being too reductive about it, it feels nice to kind of inhabit a character that people want to watch. That's not necessarily always the case. And I felt like I knew him, so I didn't feel intimidated by the prospect of trying to portray him. And like you say, there's something I love about those kind of fans that I think the music that you listen to when you're 15 or 16 is the music that will always kind of be important to you. Even if you don't listen to it all the time, it's kind of your touchstone. And it's not just because of the music, it's because it reminds you of who you were at that age. And
totally.
And that's kind of fun, So I felt in terms of, I think Nick does that a lot with his work. And I just did another thing with Nick where I played one of his characters. And I feel that there are these kind of themes that he gets across in his book where these men generally are obsessed with music of some kind, from High Fidelity or About a Boy and this one and the other one. And then the other one, I'm a music critic. So it's that's obviously because Nick is of all of those things. And then the character who's having a problem with it is somebody who's like the character in the other thing was she was a doctor for old people, and Annie works in a museum. And, yeah, so I know. So it's obviously something that he's trying to, like, one of them is obsessed with youth and one of them is obsessed with aging, and it's that kind of battleground in between that is fun to watch.
Yeah, it's a gift in a way to have the character there, like you said yesterday, Jesse. But I was intimidated because I'm such a fan of Nick Hornby. So when he came to set and I was so nervous. Like, I'm doing an accent and this whole thing, and like he's created a character from nothing. Like this, it's, to me, I just think that's kind of magical. And I'm a real bookworm, and so, but he was so a lot of writers can be kind of antisocial and awkward, and he is like the opposite. He's warm and funny and like self-effacing and like sort of almost like fanish. Like, I'm so excited to be here and see it all happening, and it really put me at ease. So once it actually helped a lot. Well, after that, I did relax a bit more. I go, okay, he seems to be, he's okay, he's all right.
The first time he came to set though was
for you.
For you.
It was
right
before.
Yeah, that's the time
I hadn't met him until
yeah.
we were probably a month in, and it was very genuinely, it was a lovely set to be on, and everybody got on great. And then one day we were just struggling with one scene. I can't even remember what the hell it was, but there was some scene that we were doing that we just couldn't get our heads around. And
we had decided to rewrite a 2-line scene. Like, we got.
Oh, that's right.
So we were like basically creating a scene on set,
on the fly,
and it wasn't really working.
And all the crew were there, kind of watching us, kind of write it as we went. And at some point, I was like, "None of this makes any sense. What is this shit?" And then hello, and Nick had just walked into the room, and I was like, oh God, he must think it's like this all the time. But then he was really sweet, and he helped us work it out. So his timing was impeccable.
I would say, is that extra intimidating? Because you do have to take some liberties to make the film, right? Yeah. To make the film work, it has to be a little different than the book. So is that intimidating to have him on set at all for that reason?
Well, it wasn't intimidating to have him on set. When I first met him, when I went on a sort of pre-scout trip to London 4 months before, and I had met him, and I felt so guilty that I hadn't had any conversation with him, and I was incredibly nervous about the changes that we had already made. And we just sat down and had drinks, and he and I sort of started apologizing, and he's like, Jesse, I've been involved with so many movies. My wife is a producer. One thing I know for sure is the last thing you need is the input of the novelist to be another thing you got to juggle in making your movies. He's like, I trust you. You just do what you need to do. And then we just segued into a 3-hour argument about whether British music or American music was more important to to the history of like rock and roll, where he was siding with American music and I was making
plot twist.
Yeah,
I love that.
But if you actually think about it, like he really does have a proclivity to like the Bruce Springsteen, to that sort of like roots rock, anyways, he was just such an awesome sort of partner and cheerleader, and like Rose said, he came in, or you said he came in that one day and just kind of casually, we broke for lunch because we were all paralyzed. We broke for lunch early and sat around, and he just like casually helped us fix the scene. Well, he's a very smart guy.